Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Five Tier Football. It's been a while, but there's been lots going on behind the scenes, preparing the platform, and we're just excited to get going and really bring you some proper content now. I'll leave some links down below into our socials and also the brand new website so you can go check it out. Plenty more to come from me, Brandon, and Adam. And speaking of the man himself, of course, Brandon, you're with us today. How are you, mate?
Hey, mate, how you doing?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Not too bad. So we'll get straight into things, just rounding up the championship fixtures. A lot's been going on, plenty of goals. And we'll start off with just quite a casual 2-0 win for Blackburn against Hull. What are your thoughts on that game, my friend?
Yeah, Blackburn, we weren't really sure on at the start of the season, were we? Same with
No.
same with Hull, and they've kind of both had mixed starts. But yeah, Blackburn are right up near the playoffs now, and to be fair, they're not lacking in the goals, are they? And Ayala even getting on the score sheet. So yeah, two quick fire goals. I think Hull are going to struggle this season. I think we can see that. But yeah, fair play to Blackburn. They've started well.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, in fairness, Ayala barely featured at all last season. So it's good to see that he's back in the squad now and also on the score sheet. And Brereton Diaz has been on fire so far this season. And so he's needed to be after the departure of Adam Armstrong. Another loss for Hull. I'm not sure they've even scored since the first game of the season. So it's quite a rough patch for them at the moment. Stats aren't too pretty either. Obviously, Hull had the possession, similar sort of shots, but not too many on target. It's relatively seemed like a close game, but Hull seemed to have a bit of an offside problem. But then Josh McGuinness is literally the offside merchant, so I'm not too surprised. Moving swiftly on to the Blackpool Huddersfield game, 3-0 win for Huddersfield, another team like Blackburn that we doubted at the start of the season. I don't know where they're pulling these results from with quite thin squads as well. So, no, it's bonkers. What a win for Huddersfield. What are your thoughts on Blackburn and Blackpool and Huddersfield so far this season?
Yeah, well, I had Huddersfield finish like second bottom, you know, or something like that. So
Yeah,
it just shows. But I think a lot of it comes down to the form of Sorba Thomas as well. He's been a
definitely.
revelation so far this season. I think the slight change in style from core brands kind of helped them. And I tell you what, they've surprised me, and I think they've surprised a lot of people. Um, but a 3-0 away win at Blackpool, even though they're a newly promoted side, that's a really good result to go away there and do that on a Tuesday night. So yeah, fair play to them.
Exactly. And Blackpool had just come off the back of probably one of the biggest wins this season from anyone, and that was a 1-0 against Fulham. So not too sure where it's gone wrong for Blackpool there, but personally, the way they've started the league, I could see them in the bottom three come the end of the season. Right now, I think they're going to have to do some business in January. Whereas Huddersfield, I can't see them keeping up the momentum, but I'm open to being proved wrong. And Sorba Thomas, like you said, looks like a baller. Moving on.
Sometimes though, there's always that kind of outside runner for the playoffs. So maybe it might be them.
Well, I think the last time they actually did get playoffs, they shocked a few. Let's be honest. I mean, no one expected anything of them that season, and all of a sudden they've got all these quality signings. It's a shame to see the demise of Elias Kachunga because he was a proper player when Huddersfield went up. But yeah, no, they could do it again. Who knows? But I think they'll be in that top half. Definitely that top half if they can keep up the form. But one injury to Sorba Thomas and it could all go wrong, or Colwill, to be fair. Um, but yeah, so Bournemouth versus QPR, quite an entertaining game. This I caught a few glimpses of it on Sky. Mark Travers had a fantastic game for Bournemouth. The goal he conceded to QPR was a bit poor. Didn't really cover his near post properly. But just after they conceded, Travers was literally like prime Buffon. It was very impressive. Solid defensive performance from Bournemouth. QPR unlucky, created so many chances. The ball just wouldn't go in the net for that second goal, unfortunately. But QPR still looking good and still shocking a few. What are your thoughts quickly on that game?
Yeah, I caught a few of the goals. Obviously, I was watching the Derby game on this day, so I didn't really catch too much of the action. But yeah, sort of game you'd expect. Two pretty good attacking teams. By the sounds of it, looked like a really exciting game. And I love Dom Solanke's shushing celebration after his being called a Chelsea reject. So I rate that. But yeah, solid win for Bournemouth. Unlucky for QPR, but I'm sure they'll be fine.
Yeah, definitely. There are two teams that will certainly be up there this season, that's for sure. Moving on, Sheffield United versus Preston. Really heartbreaking result here for Sheffield United. But Emil Reese in the goals again seems to be really up for it this season for Preston. Preston, I was worried about them at the start of this season because there was a lot of comments coming out of the club about the lack of fitness, but they seem to be picking up these decent little results here and there. So I'd say a solid point for Preston, but where's it going wrong for Sheffield United at the moment?
Yeah, I know. You know what it is? No, you know what? I don't know what it is. It's like I said, I did say at the start of the season. To be fair, I don't think their squad's as good as people thought it was, and I've been proved to be kind of right so far.
You did
But
actually say that. I remember you
to
saying
say
it.
to
Fair
say
play.
there's 50 million worth of strikers in that team, they're sort of struggling to score goals. They're putting it in the net now, but yeah, performances are taking a massive hit. I don't think, like, fair enough, Preston are picking up a couple of decent results here and there, but I don't think a result against Sheffield United is to gloat to anyone at the minute. But then again, they did win 6-1 the other day. So I don't know. It's hard to want to judge, but Sheffield United look bang average at the minute. I'm not going to lie to you. Preston, look, they fought for a good point there. And yeah, Emil Reese in the goals again. No idea where it's come from, but absolutely fair play to him. And yeah, Sheffield United, Preston actually had a better XG, so it just
Well,
shows
there
you.
you go. Definitely. Yeah, decent point for Preston in the end, and I think if they keep picking up those results, they'll be in and around that mid-table margin. And I think considering where they were sort of coming into this season, they take a mid-table finish. But Sheffield United just need to stop finding those goals. Reading Peterborough, interesting game. Peterborough actually didn't look too bad in this one, but unfortunately just couldn't pick up that first away win of the season. Reading, I think Reading have got such promising attacking quality in there, and that is starting to shine through. But defensively, they are all over the place recently. Obviously, the second worst defense in the EFL at the moment, I believe, or maybe the worst. Um, so they definitely need to sort that out. But another good result for them, and they could certainly push up the table. I can't see them doing anything too spectacular, but it is a solid 3-1 result at home for them, and probably a game that they needed to win.
Yeah, you were just saying about the goals conceded. Reading and Peter are actually both level on 17 goals conceded in 7 games. So
Flipping heck.
so yeah, that kind of tells you the story. I think it's just a case of Reading having more quality. And fair play, Peterborough didn't look awful, but it's a results business in the Championship, and Peterborough looked destined to finish bottom at this point. Even when Derby went to their place, I know I'm bitter about the result, whatever, but they honestly, I swear, Dan, they really wasn't that impressive. So they only really come alive in the last 10 minutes. So yeah.
Yeah, you never looked like you deserved to lose that game. I think it was very
Chance.
unfortunate. But since that game, to be fair, Derby's defence has vastly improved, which leads us on nicely to what is a solid point, and in your words, the best. What was it? The best point ever, or something like that.
The best point in history.
Yeah, there we go. So I'll head over to you for this one. I also watched the game on Sky, but what were your main takings away from the 0-0 draw against West Brom?
It was exactly what I expected. Kind of backs against the wall stuff. We did the exact same thing when we went to Barnsley last season under Ishmael. We played them at their own game, and they didn't like it. Honestly, I don't know if you saw, but Ishmael was absolutely crying on the sideline. Bless him. He was not happy. I think he actually came out as well after the Barnsley game, saying like criticising Rooney for matching him up. Like, it was a really weird one, but yeah, it just shows that we seem to be able to get a result against Ishmael's sides. But yeah, exactly. Backs against the wall. They actually had 25 shots. I think we had 4. I don't remember any of the 4. But,
4 and
yeah.
0 on target. So
yeah, there you go then. So we actually only made 88 passes as well. So yeah, there you go. But yeah, exactly what I expected. I just think that's a brilliant point, to be honest. And heading back to Reading, considering they've conceded 17 in 7 games, we've conceded 6 in 7 games. Admittedly, the goals are a bit dry at the minute, but still, it's results. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, Derby had one of the better defenses in the league for a fair while in the early starts, and it's still not bad considering the squad you've got. It's very thin, and for for a former striker to be such a defensive manager, it's strange, but it's working. And obviously, you are trying to play out from the back. I think you did that slightly less in this game. To be fair, you did look to go long a bit more against West Brom
Yeah.
than you did against Blues. Although the stats aren't pretty against a team like West Brom, who look like they're probably going to get promoted or at least be in that top six, considering you could be facing a 9 point deduction, that's a solid point. And I think Derby fans will be very happy with that. So, moving on to Wednesday's games, another eventful day in the Sky Bet Championship. And we'll start off with my team. It was quite a frustrating result, but I'm not too bitter about it, to be honest. Blues 1, Fulham 4. Now, obviously, on paper, you see that result. It does look like quite the battering. I can assure you it really wasn't. First half, we were very dominant. Fulham's first goal, it should have never stood. Jeremy Bella was fouled. Adoy goes up because now he's not marked anymore, scores a goal. Second goal, penalty, I'd say that was fair enough. It did look like there was a bit of a pull from Harley Dean. So you're thinking, okay, second half, we've had a good first half, but we're behind. You think we're going to come out second half. We actually came out in the second half a bit worse, I thought. Made substitutions, looked a lot better, but we were too desperate to get back in the game, played such a high line, and Fulham just waltzed in behind, really. And Harry Wilson and Mitrovic reaped the rewards of the high line. But no, Fulham showed their clinical nature and the quality they have in those attacking areas. And, Tosin Adarabioyo, what a defender. He was top class, really. But we actually were, we matched them up pretty much stats-wise, 50-50 possession. We had more shots. They had more shots on target. We had a lot more corners and a lot more offside. So you could see it was a very attacking game. But unfortunately, Blues, we just didn't look like scoring. Unfortunately, it just wouldn't go in the net. But Fulham, good result for them, especially bouncing back from the Blackpool game. Just quickly before we move on, what are your thoughts on that result, Brendan?
Yeah, I saw on Twitter someone said that it was probably a bit of 4-1 was a bit harsh, but yeah, it's just the quality of the Fulham team just shining through again. Like you say, Adebayo is a great defender. Mitrovic is back in the goals, and Harry Wilson's in there. And it's all clicking for Fulham at the minute, and even against a pretty informed Birmingham team, I'd say, at least performance-wise. That's a really flattering result, we'll say, for Fulham. But yeah, other than that, congrats Harvey Price on his first goal for Blues.
For goodness sake. But yeah, no, it's we had the best defense in the league going into the game, and then obviously came out and that wasn't the case anymore. But it is what it is. Moving on to the other BCFC of the league, and that's Bristol City versus Luton. Finally looked like they were going to get that first home win in like 9 or 10
Forever.
months or however long it is. And then Luton nick it at the death with an unusual goal scorer. He was obviously very prominent for them in League Two and slightly in League One, but hasn't really featured much at all in the Championship, and that's Danny Hilton. So obviously it's a fantastic point for Luton. They probably feel like, considering Bristol's home record, they should be coming away with more, considering it does feel like Luton are trying to aim higher this season. So maybe they should be coming away with a win. Bristol, before the game, might have taken a point, but being robbed in those circumstances, I do think they'll feel hard done by. Obviously, statistically, Luton do look like they were the better side, but Bristol also had their chances. So I think it would just be frustrating for both sides. What are your thoughts on this game, Brandon?
Yeah, I think, Luton, like you say, will probably be trying to push a little bit higher, so sort of gradually climb up the Championship year on year. And it's a decent point for them. Look, you draw your away games, you win your home games, you'll be fine. It's just there's a little bit work still to do for Luton, but I'm sure they'll get there. And when you've got Jerome and Cornick up front away at Bristol, then you've done well to get a result, to be fair. But Hilton got the goal, so there you go. But yeah, disappointing for Bristol again. I mean, there's promising signs to some of their performances here and there, but yeah, something's just not clicking for them results-wise at the minute. But look, I think I've seen enough of Bristol to say that they're not going to be too deep in the relegation zone. They could easily get sucked into it, though. You know what I mean? Like
They
results-wise.
almost did last season, so
But yeah, performances need to pick up.
100%. And like you said, I mean, Nigel Pearson said last season if the season had gone on any longer, he thinks his side would have been relegated. So that says all about what Bristol were like back in the last season. Obviously improving away from home this season, but still very poor at home. On to the next game, and I don't know how they're doing it, to be honest, but Coventry beating Cardiff 1-0. Coventry are flying. I certainly didn't expect them to be where they are at this point in the season. But who knows? Is a playoff push on the cards for Coventry? Maybe more. Who knows? But it is another fantastic result. With on paper, it doesn't look like a very strong side, but since they brought ex-Blues loanee Clark Salter in, he's really toughened them up and obviously won man of the match. And it's a strange defeat for Cardiff, especially coming off the back of a solid win away at Forest. But even then, they probably should have been more convincing in that game. What are you taking away from this 1-0 victory for Coventry, Brandon?
I'm taking away, I don't think Cardiff are as good as people probably think. To say that they only beat Forest 2-1 and, you know, they've lost to Coventry, fair enough. But I nearly just snatched that result at Peterborough as well the other week. But yeah, Coventry, I think they're just going for a purple patch. I can't see them mounting any sort of playoff push. You never know. But they had 10 men in this game as well when Dabo got sent off. But yeah, I think it's just a purple patch at the minute, and I don't think it's going to continue forever. We'll see. But yeah, credit to Coventry, they're absolutely flying.
Well, I mean, we've seen teams do this before earlier in the championship season and then end up relegated. Most recently would be Charlton under Lee Bowyer. Started the season so well, few injuries, and then the rest of the season was awful. They went from second to relegated. So it can happen to anybody. I wouldn't doubt it. But fair play to Coventry. If they can keep it up, then it'd be amazing for the Sky Blues. Definitely overachieving at the moment. Brandon, I'm sure you'll love to talk about this one. Forest 0, Middlesbrough 2. Chris Hughton is gone. Forest fans have been wanting that for a while, or should I say, Hugton out, as some of the Forest fans with the bedsheet might say. So yeah, obviously it's a solid win for Middlesbrough. I think Middlesbrough need it because they have been in, I'd say, a bit of a rough patch form-wise. They've been unlucky in some of their recent games. So hopefully this one will definitely build up the confidence in Warnock's side and they can push on a bit more this season and sort of hit those expectations that everyone was thinking they might hit. But I think the main talking point in this is Forest. Where is it all going wrong? On paper, that squad isn't even that bad, but it's just Forest flirted with it last year, the possibility of going down. And this season, they're certainly heading for it. What are your thoughts, Brendan?
Yeah, I don't know what to think of it really. Like, I think it's just sometimes managers and clubs don't fit together. But you would have thought Houghton would probably fit at Forest. It's the results. When you think of Forest, especially in recent years, you think of a team that gets results. Like you think of them under Lamucci, they were never kind of the sort of possession, fancy football kind of team when they nearly got in the top six. They were just kind of hit teams on the break. But and soak up pressure. But yeah, Middlesbrough have done a job on them here, to be fair. I know Hernandez getting on the score sheet. I think we're starting to see some of Middlesbrough's quality shine through a little bit. Like they've still got a while to go, but you look at the teams up against each other. Fair enough, Forest squad underachieving, obviously, but Middlesbrough squad, to be fair, you can easily see it going places. I mean, the front three behind the striker, just Hernandez, Crooks, and Tavernier is actually pretty good sort of set of attacking midfielders there, and they've got a relatively strong spine. So fair play to Middlesbrough. You got to beat who you put up against, really, and they've done it. So
definitely.
Bye bye, Houghton.
Yeah, see you later, Chris. On to the
I'm
next
actually
game.
gutted though. I'm actually gutted because I don't think they'll stay at the bottom now. But oh well.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because Chris Hughton shouldn't be down there in the first place. He's a good manager at this level, and it's a shame he hasn't worked out for him. So hopefully his next venture is better than his last. Moving on to the next game, Stoke versus Barnsley. Great point for Barnsley, who have been very touch and go so far this season. But a very informed Stoke side. Obviously, there was a bit of a scrap at the end of this game, and it all kicked off and whatnot. A few sending offs off the field, and then obviously the one on the field for Tommy Smith. But it was too late on, and Stoke have got a good enough defence to hold on for a point. However, some of the chances they had in this game, they really should have gone on to win. Obviously, missing the penalty. Not only did Vrancic miss a penalty, he missed a sitter. Surridge, despite scoring, had not the greatest of games. He did miss some big chances. And Barnsley obviously scored a stunner. And I reckon this will be a really positive point for Barnsley. And if they can build on it and start looking at more momentum going forward, then it'll be really good for them. But I think Stoke will definitely be frustrated after this one. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, by the sounds of it, Bradley Collins had an absolute blinder in goal. But yeah, Stoke, I think it's just one of those games where you have these sort of games where you dominate and you probably just don't get what you deserve. But yeah, it happens. I don't think Stoke fans should really worry too much. But in terms of Barnsley, it's a brilliant point for them. Like I said, we didn't really know what to expect from them. At the start of this season, but they've still got good players in there. They've still got Hellick. They've still got Styles. They've still got Woodrow. They've got a good team, not as strong as last year, but yeah, look, they just need results, and they've got a decent point away from home there. So fair play.
Definitely. And then our last game to cover, a 0-0 ball draw, Swansea versus Millwall. Millwall, it's a very short story, really. It's solid defensively, didn't offer much going forward. Swansea playing some pretty football, very possession-based like we expected under Russell Martin, because that was what he's famous for at MK Dons. But unfortunately, his pretty football just isn't delivering wins at the moment. They're really struggling to sort of build some consistent momentum of results. There's a lot of draws in there. Even looking at the stats, plenty of possession, plenty of shots. And if anyone deserved to win the game, it was certainly Swansea. But they are lacking a clinical edge. And I think we all thought the new signing Pirro would certainly offer that, and was starting to look like he would. But he's also starting to join that sort of rough patch of just not being able to find the net like the rest of them. So Swansea, there's certainly a project building there, but it's going to take a lot of time. Whereas Millwall, I think this season really is last chance saloon for Rowett to do anything with this squad, because he's not. I personally, I've not seen them develop. I don't think they're developing in the right direction this season. If anything, they're moving backwards. When with a squad like that on paper, I think they should be moving forwards. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, just you can see this result coming a mile off, aren't you? Swansea not creating many chances, not scoring many goals at the minute, and then Millwall kind of just a defensively set up team, and they've just got a decent point away from home. That's kind of how it is. I agree with what you say about Rowett, kind of last chance saloon, but I think he'll probably see this season out, and then Millwall might look to the future. Maybe nothing against Rowett, but he'll get them results in this division. But if Millwall want to progress, they need investment and they need to build around a new manager. I don't think Rowett can really take them any further than what they've already achieved under him. But yeah, Swansea, well, they're 20th in the league. It's results business. So I've said that a lot this video, haven't I?
Yes.
Fair enough. They wanted to build a project under Russell Martin. It's going to need time. It will work eventually if they invest. But as I say so many times, it's a results business. They could easily get drawn into that bottom half this season. I don't think they're going to be in trouble, but I think the squad is certainly lacking in quality compared to what they've had in previous seasons, and I think that's probably why the results aren't coming. But I think it's still early in the season. We're still only 7 games in. We've still got 39 games left, so plenty more to play for.
100%. That wraps things up nicely, really, mate. So thank you very much for joining us as always, Brandon. Really, really enjoyed this match week review, really, of all the fixtures. And me and Brandon will certainly look to bring you more roundup videos on a consistent basis. So thank you for anyone that's tuned in. We'll see you in the next one. Go check out the links below and subscribe if you fancy it. See ya.